Hi, welcome Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations here with today's live. I go live every Monday and Thursday here on YouTube and Facebook to show you guys something fun. And boy, do I have something fun for you today. You've seen that I've worked a little bit with this Golden Greenery Designer Series paper and this new stamp set that came out. And it's mainly designed for Christmas. At least that's what I thought until I made today's card. And this is totally non-Christmas using that Christmas set. So it's an interacting or interlocking card. And I can't wait to show you how it's done. I have something similar to this in tutorial book 1, but not quite. But I think you're really going to like it. But look at all that beautiful greenery done in pinks and purples and the vellum that goes with it. Just gorgeous. And as I said, we're using this Golden Greenery. So here's our stamp set. And this is a 2-step stamping. So this one, these two go together, and these two go together, and these two go together. And then there are dies that can cut them out. And so there's these hollow ones that'll cut out the stamped ones I was talking about. And then there's some free form that you can cut out and just use them as is. And then it has a coordinating one that goes with it. It's part of what we call a mega bundle. Excuse me. And so there's this greetings of the season that goes with it. And so this has all the greetings and some scripts and print and these great label dies that go with it. So we're also using our labels. And if you're going to get the greetings of the season, you might want everyday greetings because the two of them combined cover almost everything. Two sets I would recommend that you can use them for everything. And you know me, I love things that can be used multiple ways on multiple cards. And these are absolutely one of those things. And it's part of the latest release of our online exclusives. And those online exclusives are things that never, ever, ever show up in a catalog. So you want to be sure and grab those while they're out there. It's definitely worth checking out online what other things are available. I know people said that the catalog pickings were a little on the slim side, but once you start hitting the online exclusives, you start realizing how much is really out there and available. So here I have the base of our card. And so it's 5.5 by 11. And then I scored it at 1 3/4 and 3.5. And over here it's at 7.5 and 9 1/4. But if you only want to remember two measurements, it's 1 3/4 and 3.5 from either side. And then we're going to fold the inside ones into a valley and the outside ones into a mountain. So what I mean by that is this score line goes in a valley mold and this one goes in a mountain because it goes up. Does that make sense? So we're going to do that on both sides. And if those of you who are out there excited about my Fun Fold book, I hope you're loving it. I have volume 2 ready to release. So it's out there in my online store. It just went up in like the last 24 hours. And it's ready to go, and it is awesome. And we worked on one thing, my editor and I, what we did was we made sure that when you're looking at a card, rather than it being the front and the back of a page, it's going to be side by side. So when you lay it open on the desk, you don't have to flip any pages, which should be a huge help. We didn't even think about that the first time around. It wasn't until we got it in printed format that we went, So the next two are going to be correct. Okay, then I have a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. That's going to be our base. And so this is going to go over it. So this is 5 1/4. Okay, I might have said 5.5, but it's 5 1/4 because I wanted it to mount on this base and have this 1/4 inch extra that we get our border all the way around. Oops. Funny thing is I've already gotten 2 orders on the new book because somebody messaged me and asked about getting one for a friend as a gift. And so while she was out there, she not only bought volume 1, she bought volume 2 for both of them. So that was kind of exciting. It was a good start to the new book. Okay, so once we have our base together, then we have these pieces that are going to go over it. And these are 1 3/4 by 4, and I have 3 of them. And then I went ahead and I did some die cutting. Oh, and these go on top of it. So these are 1 5/8 by 3 7/8. So these are just going to have the 1/8 inch border going around them. So this is a skinny, tiny little border. And so if you want to, you may want to put those on with Tombow liquid glue. So you have time to wiggle them around and make sure that they're right. And then I wanted the tag on the front to be designer series paper. And it's just a very subtle print. This is out of the Country Lace designer series paper. And so I thought it was a little too thin, especially since I'm going to be mounting a lot of things on it. So I cut a second tag just to glue them together and strengthen it and make it a little thicker. The website for the book, sorry, I just caught a comment out of the corner of my eye. I try to watch in case there's questions. It's in my queenbeecreations.net/store. So that's where you'll find the book. Sorry about that, squirrel. Okay, so I made it thicker so that it was good and sturdy. And then I mounted everything to the back. And then I had all of these sprigs that were just kind of there. And so I got a second one and I glued that to the back so that the sprigs were tucked in between, and it made it good and sturdy, which was actually really good for the card, especially since it's going to have these 2 pieces that are going to slide underneath. And so it just made this piece here really sturdy. So using those label dies, I cut 1 out of designer series paper and 2 of them out of basic beige, because that's what color this designer series paper is. And then I have this one that's another one of the dies that will just go over the top, and we'll stamp on that one. But let's go ahead and put some of this together so I don't lose any pieces. Oh, and that rogue die or stamp that I lost, I found it. It was actually stuck to the back of a sheet of dimensionals. And so I have this really cool little organizer. And when I pulled out a sheet of dimensionals, it was stuck to the back side. So it's found, which was exciting because it was out of this brand new stamp set that I hadn't been able to use yet. So you can't lose a stamp before you've had a chance to use it, right? That's just not right. Yes, I was very excited to find it. Okay, these are going to cover the entire front of this card, top to bottom and side to side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one on the left side. And again, I'm doing this with liquid glue so I can get that wiggle time. And then I'm mounting it on here. So it's only sticking on this side. And then I'm kind of wiggling to make sure that I'm flush with the top and flush with the side. Then I'm going to take the second one and it's going to go on this side. And so move it around to where it's comfortable for you. And then butt it up there. And then the other one's going to go down here. So it's left, right, left. And then they touch each other. So it's solid all the way up. Does that make sense? A ring you lost in 1983. Wouldn't that be nice? My husband lost his wedding ring. Oh, geez. It was the one with the diamonds in it. We only bought the one with the diamonds. And he lost it probably 5 years into our marriage. And we've never found it. It was somewhere within the house. We know it was within the house, but we're not sure where it went. And we've since moved from that house. So it's never getting found. So now he just has a plain gold band because he takes it off for work because he works construction. And when they're working with power tools and stuff, they're not allowed to wear it. So he'll often stick it on his key ring. And so I didn't want to do that with a diamond ring. But yeah, finding lost rings would be awesome. Okay, so I just stuck the basic beige on the back of the designer series paper just to give it some strength. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp on here, and then I'm going to show you how I stamped all the little greenery. So I'm going to need, let's see, happy, which is right here. And then remember I said this one coordinated? So this is where birthday is. So happy and birthday are split into 2 sets, which I thought was kind of tricky. So I'm going to line them up on my grid paper, trying to get them straight. Although I'm not really sure. It looks like it kind of goes in an upwards trajectory. And yeah, that's going to fit on there. So I'm going to bring in fresh freesia ink. Oh, wow. That is very lucky. I would have thought when you lost it in a river, it was gone for good. So that's very, very lucky, especially a year later. Just checking for questions, comments. And I know we have quite a few ladies here that pray, and so I would want to put up Christy's little comment about her husband having a stroke. He was in the hospital last week, and so if we can add her to our prayer list, that would be awesome. Okay. Now, I mentioned that I did a lot of these already. I just kind of did a bunch of them, different colors, trying to decide what I wanted. And I don't know if you can notice, but they're a little bit off when I went to go die cut them. Some of them are good. Some of them are a little bit off, especially like this one missed the stem on it. It shifted a little bit, I think, when I was die cutting. So I tried to come up with another way to do this, and I did. And we all know that I absolutely love the Stamparatus. And if you don't have the Stamparatus, I am so sorry we quit selling it, but I do have a link to get you to the Misty, which is similar, almost the same thing, but not quite. And what I did was I put it in the Stamparatus and I die cut this first. And so I just took it out of a piece of regular cardstock. This is a thick, very vanilla. And then I die cut one in white. So this, I wanted them on white. So I'm just going to stick the one that I die cut separately into the hole there. And then I set the stamp into the hole, and then I picked it up with the plate. Oop. And so now we just ink it. And it's going to go directly onto there, exactly where I need it to go. See, isn't that beautiful? And then for the second half, I'm flipping this over and we're going to ink up the second side. But I wanted this to be a little bit lighter. So I'm actually going to tap it with a piece of paper first, just gently. So it's a second generation stamping. And there we go. There it is, stamped and die cut perfectly. I mean, it still works the other way. If you wanted to put them on blocks, it totally works. I'm not saying it doesn't, but this was just an easier way to go about doing it, I felt. Because the other way, you would be stamping directly in front of you. And then when you ink up the second one, you're going to stamp off. And then you need to hover over exactly where this one goes, which sometimes works perfect and sometimes doesn't. That time it happened to. But you need to make sure that you're lining up the bottoms of the leaves with the bottoms on here, because the top, if you'll notice, doesn't have any inking from the first stamp. The tops are kind of empty. So you have to watch the bottoms as you're lining it up. But I went ahead and did that with the one with leaves and then the leaves. And I'm just going to pick some. And then I also went and die cut some of the vellum. This is from that Golden Greenery suite. And so there were two of them. There was this one with the rounded leaves and then one with the heart-shaped leaves. So I've die cut them both out of the vellum just for a background. We can decide if we're going to use one or both of them. Looks like on this one I used both. And then, of course, I messed with it for quite some time. I sat here and I fidgeted and I tried to decide, you know, do I want this one here or do I want that one there? And I think what I need to do is be careful, because when I did that one, they kind of go off the edge. And I didn't intend for that. So I think I need to pay closer attention this time when I glue them on to make sure that I'm not going too far off of the edge. Because if I want this to fit in an envelope, it can't go too far over. You know what I mean? It can't. Okay, so I kind of want to keep those there. So I'm kind of just watching where they're going to hit. That one seems to be on. And let's do the other side. Okay. So now the two in the middle I'm pretty confident with, I think. Yep, those are all within the deal. Okay, so those are good. Then let's take our vellum. And I want it just kind of poking out from behind. So I'm not trying to make it any wider or bigger because I don't want it going over the edge, but I want it to give some accent in the back. Oops, come on. Come on. I think maybe what I wanted to do is go this way. Yep, that's what I wanted. I wanted to go that way. Okay. So see what I mean? I have a glue dot going on backwards, and then I have all of these stems that just make the back look kind of messy. So it's really pretty from the front. But then I couldn't decide what to do about all this. So that's where this second die cut came in of the label. So I'm just using this second one to just cover all this up. Then I looked at it and went, there's a hole right there. So I wasn't sure what to do about that. So that's when I brought in a second one of the vellum, and I'm just going to put that right over the top of the hole. And then we had stamped that happy birthday. And that's going to cover up the whole stem, so we're good there. But I think I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. Come on. So did anybody have any questions about this card? So you're loving the technique with the die cuts. Really great for mass producing, absolutely. Do I buy a lot of 12 by 12 paper? Yes, I do. I buy quite a bit of it because I do a lot of fun fold cards that end up needing a 12-inch strip. Oh, come on. There we go. Just looking for those in color dots. I just put those across the bottom because I felt it was kind of blank down here. And what I'm going to do at the top is add a bow to cover up that one. So we happen to have the same color ribbon. That's part of the color coordination that I absolutely love. Is that the fact that our ink and our paper and our designer series paper are all exactly the same shade, including those little embellishments at the bottom and the ribbon. Everything coordinates. Stampin' Up! Is awesome that way. So these are the bow maker tool that my husband makes. They're also for sale in my store. Come on. And then I always just melt the ends just a little bit so that they don't unravel and fray. And then I'm going to take a couple of glue dots. Putting one on either side of the knot. And then setting that right there. Okay, now we're ready to adhere it to the card base. Now when I go to adhere this, I only want it adhered in the middle. So I'm going to put quite a bit of adhesive on mine. This is more than I ever do, but just because it's going to get movement and it's going to lock underneath of it. So I don't want it to lift it off. But I'm going to go ahead and center it in my card right over the top of that massive adhesive. And then I'm giving it a little extra rub just to make sure that it's good and stuck. And then when it slides together, it's going just under these little leaves and just under the label down here so that it goes together. And then let's see, we forgot an inside piece. So I've got a piece 4 by 5 1/4. I'm coming in with the same ones we did the color with, but this time I'm just doing Old Olive for some greenery. Ooh, that didn't work well. Must have had greenery underneath of it. Okay, there we go. Yep. All right, and then an inside sentiment. Did I put one in here? What did I do? Oh, nope, I just did those. Okay. So the colors I used here were Old Olive, Fresh Freesia, and Bubble Bath. Oh, and we need this to be 3 3/4. By 5 1/4. Because our, no, by 5. 3 3/4 by 5. because it's already 4 by 5 1/4 on the green layer. On this card, I used Pretty in Pink and Highland Heather. But that's today's card. Somebody says she's been using super fine glue on the end. Yeah, that would work. I would be worried about being sticky for too long. The thing about burning it with the lighter is that it melts and dries right away, so it's not sticking to anything. Christy says she prefers the 8.5 by 11 and 12 by 12. Some people love the 6 by 6 and some people don't. It's a personal preference kind of thing. But yeah, you can always cut the bigger sheets into smaller ones, but you can't glue the smaller ones together and make bigger ones. So that's kind of a bummer. Okay, so has everybody put in hashtag prize patrol? That's how you get entered into the drawing to possibly win today's card, because I'm going to take this one that fits in an envelope and somebody's going to get it in the mail. It's probably going to need some extra postage because with the knot of the bow and the little things and the extra layers, it might require some extra postage, but it's worth it. It's really, really pretty. But if you put in hashtag prize patrol, just like it is, and you get entry. And then I have the computer collecting everything in the background. And so we're going to give that wheel a spin and see who today's winner is, because you have to be watching live in order to be entered into Prize Patrol. So there we go. Mary Kay Harmon is our winner. Mary Kay, what I need you to do is go to my website, queenbeecreations.net, and then up there in the address bar where you put that address, after the end, you're going to put /prize patrol, and it will take you to a Google form where you will claim your prize and fill it out and give me your address so I know where to mail your card to. So congratulations. I hope you love it. I hope you go over to my store and check out my volume 2 of Fun Folds. There's 50 of them in the second book as well as the first. And I will see you back here on YouTube and Facebook on Monday at 2:30 Mountain Time. Thank you so much. Bye.